$152, $154.
That bit the white of an eye from half a league away.
El Herzer.
Our ballista, your command.
Pays late. Again.
Egreutro dum anime est, des est.
Again and again and again. An army's a waste of time for one like me. Again and again and again.
Yeah.
Stop your yapping and start digging. Gonna need 3 buckets of nails and a tub full of pegs. Don't you worry yourself, Grace. We'll get her done in no time.
Waiting for a personal invitation! I'm a wrong set.
Fishing in the moat? Oh, you're dead.
Yeah! Yeah!
It's gonna be a right good levy, big and beautiful.
Scrubbing duty again? Oh, gods. My boots.
got sand aplenty in it.
Discipline. That is what you folk lack.
New orders? No?
Now, how did that incantation go?
My prescription, a bit of bloodletting.
The Devil's Tower. We draw near, your grace.
No sign of Willem yet, far as I can see.
Unsurprising. Prompt he never was.
The Queen had chosen to meet Willem at Devil's Tower, and not without purpose. The structure stood on an isle, so no foe could approach without first exposing themselves on a narrow bridge. The isle had little vegetation midst which to conceal a large force. A small unit could evade detection. Altogether not much to fear.
No escorts were your terms,
Began Gascon, with a hint of mischief.
but better safe than sorry, I always say.
What are you suggesting?
Yours truly and 4 chaps behind the walls. Give a signal, any signal, and we'll leap to your side.
Meve struggled with her conscience. There was no honor in Gascon's plan, but prudence, certainly. In the end, she nodded in agreement, though not without compunction. Willem arrived soon after, the heavily armored cavalry he had in tow clearly there to boost his courage. He left them at the foot of the bridge and rode across alone. A stiff wind from the river nearly made off with his ermine fur cloak. Willem and the mother who'd borne him stood face to face. They gazed into each other's eyes, waiting to see who would look away first. When neither did, Meve broke the silence.
Time flies and I've a kingdom to liberate. No need to drag this out. What's this about? Tell me.
I thought my messenger already did.
Oh, he did. And how? Willem I wishes to arrange a truce. Only, Willem I is in no position to parley on an equal footing. Willem I can, at most, offer his unconditional surrender because Willem I's losing this war.
Yes, Mother, I am. And I see that by losing I've at last made you content.
Don't play the victim. What next? Will you say you turned cloak because Mummy showed no warmth, displayed no feelings?
'Twould be unfair, any such judgment. You did show feelings, chiefly enmity, contempt. But that's not why I betrayed you. No, I simply disagreed with your choices, assessments.
I had every right to do what I considered just and good.
And I had every right to voice my view, which you ever ignored. Yet this is neither the time nor the place to discuss that. Let us parley as strangers. I'm losing, you say. And you're right. But I haven't lost yet, and have no intention to surrender. I am ready, however, to renounce my fealty to the Empire and pledge my forces to you. As long as you fulfill my conditions.
Let me hear them.
First, you will not rescind the reforms I've authorized already, any of them. Second, you will guarantee both my safety and that of my advisors. Third, I shall remain your heir, and next in line for the throne.
These terms I cannot accept.
Well, I had to try, Mother.
Yet I can't deny your courage either. Come here. Look me in the eye. This couldn't have been easy.
No, it wasn't.
I trust when the time comes, you'll show the same nerve on the battlefield.
I shall seek out your banner. Let the gods then settle our dispute once and for all. Goodbye, Mother.
Willem bowed, turned and walked away. Maeve's anger burned still in her gut, beneath a heart now heavy with grief. Soon thereafter, Maeve's army set out towards Rivia Castle. It would not be long now before the decisive battle.
Your Grace,
said Reynard, saluting and clicking his heels.
peasants from the Scala region have arrived at camp. Supplicants, wishing to deliver a plea to your person.
Maeve sighed. Supplicants, trials, audiences, all aspects of queendom she did not miss.
Very well. Bring them here.
She replied.
And instruct them to be brief, with no digressions.
The band of commoners was led by a sturdily built beekeeper dubbed Ethelred, son of Theobald. Finding himself in the Queen's presence, he fell to his knees and waved his arms in his best impression of proper etiquette.
Oh, my lady the Queen, your gracious mightiness, take pity on us tillers and toilers. Wars all around leaving us but scraps to live off and barely that, to be honest. So we beg you, don't do it. Don't raise the levies. We can't pay more than...
What?
Maeve interrupted.
What the devils are you talking about?
What? Your decree? One they nailed to our notice board.
The peasant said, sheepishly pulling out a parchment and pointing to the relevant paragraph with his rough finger.
We, Queen Maeve, do hereby proclaim that if our throne we shall recover, the tallage, muirage, and pavage we shall raise threefold. The expenses of this war, for to compensate at the cost of the common folk.
Maeve and Reynard exchanged astonished glances. They had issued no such decree. Yet the document bore her signature and seal.
Perhaps it was Willem's doing.
Impossible.
Maeve said firmly.
My son sank low, but not so low as to forge my name.
Then who fabricated this decree?
The Nilfgaardians.
The Queen replied without hesitation.
They have access to my seal, to my scribes. They wish to spread fear, uncertainty, and doubt, turn my folk against me. And they are liars without any honor.
The Queen tore the falsified document to shreds. Knowing this would solve nothing, she had to find the printers churning out these fakeries and end their run.
152, 154.
Has today the day? Hellcats out!
Target acquired.
An army's a waste of time for one like me.
As good as dead, that lot.
Arbalist to your command.
20 and upwards, right?
You can try to win them all, but you won't.
Armor won't say.
It's gonna be a right good levy, big and beautiful.
Please wait, Your Excellency. I'm falling behind.
Left, right, left, right. An army's a waste of time for one like me. Left, right, Left, right.
Discipline. That is what you folk lack. Erigla.
Stop your yapping and start digging.
Hard is not to reason why.
To the last!
A highly curious case.
Oi, Meavy!
cried Gascon, as usual paying no heed to courtly etiquette.
Come here a minute.
Would it hurt so terribly to occasionally address me by Your Grace or Your Majesty?
Didn't want to be petty, but since you bring it up, you've never once addressed me as the Duke of Dogs.
Meve sighed, rolling her eyes.
Get on with it.
My lads jumped one of the Blackclads' transports. Guess what they were hauling?
Gascon handed Meve a pot filled to the brim with a thick, dark fluid.
Paint?
Close. Printer's ink. Same tone used in those phony decrees.
Meve spun on her heel, put a hand to her mouth, and yelled,
Reynard! Send scouts to comb the area!
Her soldiers returned a few hours later with good news. They were able to find a Nilfgaardian printer's workshop hidden in an abandoned barn. It was guarded by a division of elite infantry.
Right. So?
Gascon thumbed the edge of his blade.
Shall we stop the presses?
Time for the Nilfgaardians to publish a retraction.
Spoke the Queen as she drew her sword.
Signed with their own blood. Follow me!
The Lyrians did not need to be told twice. Their Queen's honor, her good name, that was a cause well worth fighting for.
you fool hard! Sound the alarm! Larum!
Discipline. That is what you folk lack.
Law and cat down!
Commissar will hear.
Scheiß in Trade! Hail cats out!
Off to the front yet again.
That bit the white of an eye from half a league away.
Stop your yapping and start digging.
Ours is not to reason why.
Scheiß in Trade!
Don't you worry yourself, your grace. We'll get her done in no time.
They weren't expecting us. Seems they believed their own blarney.
The Nilfgaardians fought fiercely, led by a seasoned covert agent. Seeing he would soon fall into enemy hands, he put a knife to his throat and, in a quick slash, sent blood pouring over paper and still wet ink. Reynard leapt towards him, trying to stanch the red tide. But it was too late, and the spy's secrets perished with his last gargled breath. Niamh picked up a freshly printed pamphlet. The document listed her many crimes and misdeeds, the true and the manufactured alike. Above the main body of the text, an etching depicted her, well, in a very unflattering manner.
How about a taste of their own medicine?
Asked Gascon, piecing blocks of type into a scathingly foul phrase.
Me and the lads will scratch out a couplet about Ep Dahi, spread it around the countryside, give the folk a hearty laugh at those tossers' expense.
Yes, these presses should be put to good use.
The Queen said.
But printing lewd jests is not it. We must spread facts. Tell what the Nilfgaardians did in Aldersburg, how they tried to murder me in Mahakam and Angren. What fate lies in store for those they conquer?
Gascon grew serious and set the ink-stained type back down.
Get to work. Before the sun sets, I wish to hold the first document in my hands.
Soon, in every town, village and tavern, there hung a notice detailing Nilfgaard's crimes. The outraged Rivians did what they could to strengthen the Queen's army. Some by offering coin, others by joining her ranks.
Yeah! Ah! Yeah! Ho! Yeah! Ah! Ho! Yeah! Ah! Yeah! Huh! 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 Ah! Huh! Ha 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 ha!
Rivia will never die so long as we are alive.
These lands, they look familiar to you?
Naturally, Your Grace. They're the venerable Count Caldwell's.
War, death, chaos. Everywhere but here. This land's positively pastoral.
The traitorous Caldwell family's residence loomed into view. Against the horizon, it looked suitably sinister. Yet the manor had changed since Meve last saw it. 2 new wings, ornate towers, a grand colonnade. And the windows now glistened with stained glass, the gilded hue of imperial suns.
We must pay them a visit,
Seethed the Queen. The great double doors opened with an echoing thud. Just inside them stood the heir to the estate, Dragomir, his wife and 3 children by his side, and Helena, the treacherous Count's widow. Sliding the cap from his head, thus giving proof of the family's hereditary baldness, Dragomir knelt down upon one knee.
Your Grace, my father's betrayal stands beyond doubt and exoneration.
The young Caldwell said flawlessly, and in a single breath, as if he'd practiced a dozen times.
And his death at your hands was most well deserved.
I ask that you not punish sons for the sins of their fathers. I ask humbly, with bowed head, allow me to stay on my ancestral lands, to serve faithfully as your loyal subject.
I believe not a word slithering out of his mouth,
whispered Reynard.
The first chance he gets to stab you in the back, he will take.
Convenient to make this request now, don't you think? Why not earlier?
Meve asked, crossing her arms and raising her chin.
It would have behooved you to send a messenger, once I'd crossed into Rivia.
Preferred to speak to you directly, Your Grace, For
you held out hope. Hope that the Blackclads would yet defeat me. You stood on their side till the last. No. The Caldwells I trusted once, but I shan't make that error again. You've one day to pack your chattels and go. Leave my country.
Dragomir rose from his knee and shook out the cap he'd crushed in supplication.
Only ever as a corpse, your majesty.
He hissed, his vulnerable demeanor gone in a flash.
If you'll not take me for your vassal, you must take me as your foe. Men, to arms!
At this sign, armed men rushed from the house while archers appeared atop the roof. Clearly, Dragomir had expected to be refused.
You'll not destroy my family. I won't allow it.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow. Time to die. Aye. Should have listened to me old lady.
Thing about slings, they hide well.
For Lydia!
Don't you worry yourself, Grace. We'll get her done in no time.
What do you want of me?
I'm a won't say.
You must sweat like a swine in that jacket.
One boat I need.
Hey?
Give me a target.
pays late. Again.
Our ballista, your command.
Is today the day?
Father was right about you.
Dragomir lay in the courtyard of his extravagant manor. With the last of his strength, he clawed at the colored gravel. He resembled an insect that was hurt, damaged, yet pulled itself along as if it could somehow escape death. The Queen knelt beside him and gazed into his clouded eyes.
I want you to know your family will be looked after. You've relatives in Kedwen. They'll be sent there, properly escorted, with the proper stipend.
Dragomir wished to say something, but choked on his own blood. He was dead a moment later. The Queen slowly stood and gave the order to march. She rode at the front of the column, deep in thought.
Retreat!
Egreto dum anime est, spes est.
Can't take it anymore.
Quiet, or the Commissar will hear.
Mahjong.
An army's a waste of time for them like me. Left, right, left, right. Left, right, left, right.
Got any victuals? Hungry like a wolf I am.
Quick and painful this'll be.
Don't you worry yourself, Grace. We'll get her done in no time.
One bullet's all I need.
Left, right, left. What now?
I'm coming. I warned you.
Meve now reached Willowhain, a settlement she knew well, for it lay near Waldenrad, where in peacetime she would go to escape her queenly duties and enjoy the thrill of a hunt.
Pheasant, grouse, and partridge in abundance. You will see,
said Meve in muted excitement, pivoting in her saddle to face Gascon. Alas, it appeared the war had ravaged even these woods. Where life had stirred and grown tall before, only resinous trunks remained. And the village itself had lost its quaint allure, surrounded now by a double stockade, a golden sun fluttering above it.
Bastards couldn't even let the damn trees be.
Gascon seethed. A dismal scene. Her once cherished wood, and it weighed heavily on the Queen's spirits. Waldenrad had been a place removed, where she could rest and forget the weight of her crown. Reynard's voice roused Meve from her sad reverie.
A Nilfgaardian garrison holds the village,
he said.
We ought to drive them out. Avoid any surprise later from the rear.
give the order to attack, but none is to play the hero. We shall breach or topple the stockade together. Senseless to perish so close to home.
Reynard nodded. Moments later, the Lyrians rushed forth and attacked. Meve, alas, dismal.
Give the order. Has come to purge these devils from our homes! Follow me!
Ha! Ha!
Alba!
Got any victuals? Hungry like a wolf, I am.
You can try to win them all, but you won't.
Ha! Eri gloire!
Gonna need 3 buckets of nails and a tub full of pegs.
Again and again and again.
Feel any burning? See a local healer or wise woman.
Course I'll manage. I made a full week.
Pays late. Again.
For the Queen! To the Nitloir!
Thing about slings, they hide well.
Egreto dum anime est, spes est. My prescription, a bit of bloodletting.
Rivia is ours! Ours!
When the battle dust had settled, Niamh instructed her soldiers to gather Willowhane's inhabitants. Upon spotting their armed liberators, the common folk cowered in terror.
No longer need you fear.
The Queen shouted.
No longer must you worry about homes and loved ones. The war's nearly done.
Of a sudden, a villager dropped to his knees and raised his hands to the heavens in supplication.
Tracker! Guide my Queen!
Niamh broke off oddly, baffled by the man's outburst. And then it dawned on her. The Rivians of Willowhane had been driven away. Taking their place, Nilfgaardian settlers brought in to transform the near-subsistence plots of local peasants into great estates producing for the Empire. Reynard managed to grasp the essence of the Nilfgaardian peasants' frantic pleas.
They wish to stay. They've come to love the land. They pledged to renounce their emperor, swear allegiance to you as their rightful ruler.
Niamh had stopped listening. She turned to survey the hamlet. The walls of the huts freshly whitewashed, tools neatly arranged, flower beds well tended. A young girl of 6 or 7 summers peered out from her hiding place in a sunflower patch.
Your Majesty?
Asked Reynard, having noted that Niamh's mind had wandered.
What are your orders? What shall we do?
Tell them. Actually, no. I shall tell them myself.
Niamh stood on a bench, drew, then brandished her sword, and yelled at the top of her lungs.
Out! Go! Begone! This is our land. Our country. Understand?
Without understanding a single word, the settlers easily deciphered the Queen's sentiment. They hastily gathered their chattels and fled. Niamh sheathed her sword and resumed the march. And Willowhane, once vibrant, now stood quiet and lifeless, save for the wind howling through it.
Mom, I've come to tell you I must leave your army.
What? Why?
Against my better judgment, I joined you to heal your wounded. I realize now that was a mistake.
What exactly do you mean?
What you did runs counter to all my beliefs. You had your reasons, and have them still, I know. Yet I've no desire to abet them. I'd feel shame to lend a hand.
What can I do? Is there anything that would make you stay?
No, Mom. Farewell.
So be it. Good luck and Godspeed, Isbel. Arnulf, find a place at one of the tables.
Think there's been a failure to communicate, lass? I didn't join your army to meet men, but to meet quicker you lead me to that, the better.
I wish not to pry, but why do you long for death?
For only death can cleanse me of shame. You must have heard what they call me. Arnulf the Patricide. A moniker I earned. Oh, I did.
To die by one's child's hand. A terrible fate. And it shall be mine as well if I lose this war.
But did you earn it? This fate?
What? Not always have I been just with Willem. I dismissed him, neglected him, but...
Neglected? Listen, lass. My dad, he beat me. Till my skin turned blue and I chucked red bile. He'd drink and beat. My brother, Ove, Da clobbered him to death. My ma, she took her own life. Never met this son of yours. But I know you's a bit now, and I can say this. No kin of yours needs slaying.
I can't help but wonder, what does it signify? The tattoo on your head?
Ain't the tattoo? Carved these runes with a knife.
The method makes little difference. What do they mean?
Aim here. Message for enemy archers. Alas, don't seem they can read it. At least not from a distance. And when they get close, it's already too late for them.
So long, Aniel.
Your Grace, I wished once...
I showed mercy. You hurt me, Reynard. Wounded me to the bloody core. I don't know what else to say on the matter, so let's not speak of it.
As you wish, Your Grace.
It's time I...
Army's a waste of time for one like me. Left, right, left, right. Army's a waste of time for one like me.
You can try to win them all, but you won't.
Hey? Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
As today.
Oh, Lyrian lummoxes.
That hit the white of an eye from half a league away.
Give me a time.
Gonna need 3 buckets of nails and a tub full of pegs.
Meve spied the outline of Malabon Castle on the horizon, and turned dour. True, no golden suns waved atop its towers, yet that did not mean those within supported her. Malabon belonged to House Obert, long in conflict with Meve's own, and with Meve herself.
Behind their ramparts. Do you see them, Reynard?
Asked Meve, shaking her head.
Countless ballistae, collecting dust, while war rages all around.
Perhaps the Oberts will lend us aid,
Reynard replied.
True, you've been at odds with them in the past, but perhaps now, faced with a common foe.
A common foe?
Snorted the Queen.
You mean Nilfgaard, to whom they opened their gates? Caldwell, whom they supported?
For they were convinced the Empire would win this war, and resistance pointless. Yet you have shown all the North the Blackclads can be defeated. So perhaps they shall forget old wrongs.
The things I do for the good of my realm.
Meve sighed.
So be it. Reynard, send a runner to the castle. Tell the Oberts their queen seeks a word.
Moments later, the castle's heavy iron gate creaked open. Meve rode into the cobblestone courtyard, where Margravine Greta, head of the house, greeted her. although greeted is perhaps not the right word, for Lady Greta granted her only a barely perceptible nod.
What can I help you with, Maeve?
The war, my dear. The one being fought outside the walls of your castle.
Greta smiled to herself, then intertwined her brittle, ring-covered fingers.
I'm afraid that's impossible.
It is a vassal's sacred duty to serve her liege, and...
And my liege is King Willem.
Greta calmly retorted.
Against whom you have raised arms.
Willem is a usurper. He unlawfully stripped me of my crown.
The Council of Peers deprived you of your crown.
Greta said, pursing her eyes into thin slits.
Fearing you would drag this realm into a senseless war. A fear which, it is now abundantly clear, was well-founded.
I have returned home a victor. I defeated the Nilfgaardians in Angren.
Due to a stroke of good luck. You think defeating Caldwell means you can defeat the Emperor as well? Madness, my dear Maeve. And my men will not die for madness. Leave my home! Begone from my lands!
I shall go,
said the Queen.
But I shall return here once I win this war. And I shall reckon then with you and your house.
Maeve kicked her spurs and set off at a gallop, sparks flying where horseshoes met cobblestones. For long afterwards, she silently mouthed a litany of curses aimed at the Oberts and their old Margravine. Let me tell you of Ravencloft, a quarry Maeve passed by. A quarry with a dark history. For years earlier, its wall had collapsed, burying dozens alive. Scholars summoned from Oxenfurt were unanimous in their findings. The rock was fragile, further digging would likely cause slides. Maeve had heeded the scholars' advice and closed the quarry by royal decree. Yet now, as she neared it, Maeve could hear the even tap of pickaxes. She dispatched scouts to investigate. They returned promptly, their faces sullen, their cloaks blanched with a fine limestone dust.
Quarry's open anew, Your Grace. Nilfgaardians. They've got folk in the pit working it. Appear to be from the surrounding villages.
Interesting. Their engineers have found a way to render it safe. Secure the walls.
I'd say that's right unlikely, Majesty. Judging by the fresh graves we saw.
The Queen then turned to Reynard, as ever at her side.
Reynard, what do you advise?
As a soldier, my Queen, I'd advise against any kind of assault. The terrain's hard, unsuitable for a fight, and we've little to gain from a victory. As a man, however...
Yes?
To leave our folk in chains, in that death trap. It wouldn't be right.
If I were to calculate in heart and mind, keep note of gains and losses...
began Maeve.
I'd bend the knee to the Imperials, just as Willem did. But bloody arithmetic won't dictate my course, for I do what's just. I do what's right. Follow me!
Her troops followed without hesitation, swords in hand, their hearts afire.
Those Horsons, forcing my own subjects to fight us.
Ha! Yeah!
Grace, if we begin killing the overseers, the laborers will turn against them.
Oh. That bit's the white of an eye from half a league away.
The overseers are dead, Your Grace.
The Lyrians handily dispatched the Nilfgaardian overseers, more trained in the ways of the whip than the sword. Those who survived now found themselves shackled in the very chains they'd forced the peasants to wear. Peasants. Oh, unfortunate souls. The cruel labor in the quarry had taken its toll. They stood before the Queen, shrunken to skin and bone, clothed in tattered rags, their eyes reddened by dust. But in those eyes burned a brilliant fire.
Your Grace, them black-clads treated us like dogs, stripped us of dignity. So we beg you, give us arms, let us march neath your banner. 'Tis a chance at revenge we seek, we want!
Reynard leaned towards Meve and spoke in a scarcely audible whisper.
Majesty, they've nowt. Not boots, not even foot wraps. To equip the lot, train them, would cost a small fortune.
"'Tis true. They've nowt to their names,"
said the Queen.
"have few skills to offer and little strength. But to look in their eyes is to know they'll never flee. Never throw down their arms. Such recruits are worth coin in any amount."
Emaciated, downtrodden, the peasants met the Queen's offer with gratitude. They relished the thought of facing their tormentors in a fight.